Hello everybody, Dream India Educations welcome you, and our motto is your success our concern. So this is the DWS, that is daily writing session for 27 November. So the first question is, that is studied so that the intensity and the area covered under the heat wave as well as the drought are increasing in India. Discuss the causes and the consequences of it along with the distributional pattern. Now see, so for the heat wave and the drought are concerned, now see, these topics are very dedicatedly discussed in our disaster management topics. So for that purpose, you can visit our website, that is divakarisacademy.com. They will be able to find the details of heat waves, cold waves, drought, etc. etc. So I'm not going to discuss the definitions here in details, but heat wave is nothing but what? A prolonged period with extreme temperature, whereas drought is an extreme of a hydrological extreme of the hydrological cycle, which is characterized by scarcity of water. Now see, so far as these irregularities in terms of the intensity, frequency of heat wave and the drought that we are able to find, if we try to find the causes for that, the causes can be attributed to climate change and the very intricate relationship of a number of parameters. For example, land surface processes, soil moisture, evapotranspiration, as well as local climate. So all these things collectively lead to increase in the intensity as well as area of heat wave as well as drought condition. Now see, so far as the distribution trend is concerned, we are able to find a mixed trend. Somewhere we are able to find increase and somewhere we are able to find decrease. Now the areas, this is again important for PT also. Gujarat as well as the central India part is concerned, there we are able to find increase in the frequency as well as the area covered by both heat wave and the drought condition. Now see, here heat wave is accompanied by the drought condition, and at the same time Rajasthan and the West Bengal areas are concerned, there we are able to find a decreasing trend also. Now what is the impact of this hydrological impact? What we will be able to find? Let's see, these conditions, a heat wave or drought, they are very severe when they are coming alone, but if one of this event is accompanied by the other event, then the situations become more and more detrimental. Besides that, it has an economic impact, negative economic impact, because it is going to reduce the income of the farmers. Agriculture impact, again what? The productivity of the agriculture is also going to decrease. So in that context, what we have to now develop? So there is a need of development of a model which is agricultural, hydrological, ecological, technological based model by the extrapolation of the necessary data, so that we can predict this extreme kind of events, which can act as a policy input for the policy framers, so that they can carry out a proper policy mix to get out of this kind of situation. Now see, what kind of approaches we need to tackle with this kind of events, that again you'll be able to find in our website. If you see that how to get out of drought or how to get out of heat wave like conditions, so what kind of approaches we have to adopt, that is discussed there, so I'm not picking it up here. Now next, see, this is a question which can come at any point of time in your paper 1 or paper 2. This is again a very important question which may come in paper 2 or in paper 3. The existing laws of geographical indication leans too heavily on documentary proof. Mention the changes needed in the present GI provisions of India in the backdrop of the recent Odisha and West Bengal controversy. Now see, so far the GI is concerned, it is part of the intellectual property rights regime. And unlike the other intellectual property rights, for example, copyright, patent, industrial design, etc., GI protection is not given to some individual, it is given to a community, and it is a collective right. And if a GI tag has been given to any product, then that community can commercially exploit their product, and none can use that tag for the commercial exploitation of that particular product. Now see, recently what has happened, an issue has come out with between West Bengal and Orissa with respect to Rasagulla, and finally after a battle of 2 years, the award goes to West Bengal. Just read out what has been given here. That case summary of this case has been given because it is not very much important to this question, so that's why I am not reading it out for you. Just have a look on that. Now see, so far the present GI regime of India is concerned, which is regulated by the GI Act of 1999. So what kind of problems we are able to find? Now see, now to register a product under GI Act, we need what? The proof of origin. And this proof of origin is mandatory criteria for the registration of GI in India. And so far as this provision is concerned, it is not present in fact in TRIPS, but it is borrowed from the EU regulation, European Union's regulations on GI. Second thing is that so far as whatever proof of origin is needed, for that purpose we need documentary proof of the historical evidence. That means to register some product as GI under the GI Act, we need documentary proof, not the oral proof, documentary proof of the historical evidence. Then only that product will be registered under GI. Now beside that, now see, so far as this documentary proof condition is concerned, it is actually not a mandatory provision under TRIPS, which is nothing but associated with WTO, that is trade related intellectual properties, which is an component of the WTO framework. In that it is not mandatory to have the documentary proof, but despite that also it is a part of Indian GI Act. Beside that, what we are able to find that in some part of the areas, because in India around 8 to 10% of the population are the tribal population, where the history is not written form but mostly propagated in the form oral form, particularly in the northeastern region. So under that condition, so far as some of the indigenous products become very difficult to get registered under GI Act because they do not have the documentary proof. So one such example we will be able to find with respect to the traditional rice wine, which is also called a judima, which is a peculiar to the Dima Hasdo tribe of Assam. And the Assam state government is trying to find a documentary proof of that, but still not able to find. So therefore, what we are able to find that in that context, there is a need of changes in the GI Act. And we have to make our GI more towards TRIPS rather than the EU regulations, and we have to come out with a regime so that all these issues can be addressed in an effective way. This is again a very important question which may come, or you may get some question from this in PT also, that consider the following statements kind of thing. You may get that. So in some other day I may, okay, as a part of the economy discussion, I will pick up the IPR issues, and then we'll see the different aspect of patent, copyright, industrial design, and GI. All these things will pick up somewhere. See, this is again a question which can be asked in interview. Recently, a private bill is proposed for the reservation of ST, SC and OBC in the private sector. Discuss the pros and cons of this. Now see, so far as a reservation in the private sector for ST, SC, OBC is concerned, from time to time it is able to find place in the national discourse. Recently what has happened, some of the political leaders including Nitish Kumar advocated the job reservation for ST, SC as well as OBCs in the private sector, and accordingly a private member resolution on job reservation for all these groups in the private sector is also listed for the discussion in the winter session in the parliament. Now see, so for the rationale for this demand is concerned, according to those the protagonists, who are demanding for this, according to them, it is going to promote social justice in the private sector. And social justice is nothing but one of the core component or basic structure of our constitution, so therefore it is to be promoted in the private sector also. Beside that, so for the private sector is concerned, they are getting a number of concession from the government in terms of road, electricity, etc., etc., land. So therefore they have to also follow the recruitment policy on the reservation in the form of a paying back to the government. But so far the cons of this is concerned, the first thing is that the reservation in the private sector is going to reduce the competitiveness of the private sector. Beside that, it is going to compromise with the growth, because that reservation in the private sector may lead to the dearth of the skilled labor. Beside that, it is going to reduce the attractiveness of the Indian labor market or Indian market from the point of view of the foreign investment. So these are certain cons that has been pointed out by the antagonist to this issue. So therefore the way forward is, see, the question is not about whether we need a reservation in the private sector or not. The concern is, that is promotion of social justice through economic and political justice. And then economic justice will be able to do only through what the empowerment of the weaker section of the society. So therefore the way forward is, that is the more employment generation in both the public sector and the private sector, so that, so for the production sector of Indian economy is concerned, they'll be able to absorb more and more labor force. And at the same time, we have to give skill development to the weaker section of the society, whether it is ST, SC, or OBC, so that they become skilled and able to find better job in the competitive job market of India. And besides that, there is a need of promotion of entrepreneurship among the people, so that rather than becoming the job seekers, the people of India or the youth of India can become the job creators by taking the benefit of the startup India, startup stand up mission of India, digital India, make in India, etc. So stay connected with us. In coming times, we are going to come out with more number of videos, particularly with respect to the traditional modules. That is going to be very helpful, both your PT as well as mains. Now see, so for these questions are concerned, try to write these answers, because in mains you'll be able to get the questions somewhat like this only. So just don't go through the video alone, just try to write them, try to bring more and more points, try to write one question within 8 minutes, so that your efficiency in the mains exam become more and more. So all the best. Thank you.